episode 2.
Yeah, man.
Of On the Level. Episode 1, we unpacked lead generation strategies for January.
That's right.
Let's talk about something a little that might get us canceled.
A little spicier.
So we're just gonna. Before that, let's. I want to thank our sponsor, HK Young.
Yeah.
Bourbon Company.
Yes.
Probably my new favorite bourbon.
It's mine.
Yeah,
for sure.
Right out of Hopkinsville.
Hopkinsville. What a cool bunch of guys.
Yeah, seriously.
Holy cow.
Seriously.
They just showed up like, we heard you want a sponsor.
Right.
Seriously.
Right. And I would say it's better than George T. Stagg.
Okay.
At a fraction of the cost per bottle.
It's pretty tasty stuff.
Yeah. Contractor approved.
Yeah. Contractor approved. Look for them in your stores. Yeah. It's good stuff.
All right. And then Joey from the Red Brick Inn made us these delicious breakfast old fashions.
Yes.
It's 2 ounces of HK Young.
Yep.
It's I looked it up.
Okay.
Yeah. It's an ounce of coffee liqueur.
Yes.
A ounce of cold brew.
Yep.
A half ounce of I said the coffee liqueur. Maple bitters, garnished with an orange rind. So
yeah. It's lovely.
Lovely. Oh, a little bit of chocolate syrup for anyway.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
it's like an adult breakfast cereal.
It's like we're connoisseurs or something. Yeah, like we know what we're talking about.
We don't. I just like it.
Exactly.
But anyway, so I saw in the news our president held to his word and is starting deportations.
Yeah.
And my first thought is, where are framers and roofers going?
Yeah. Yes.
Right.
That's interesting concept. Yeah. Interesting thought. Yeah.
Where do you see this going?
I think we're going to have we've already been in a labor crisis in the construction industry forever.
Yeah. What's the stat? It's like for every 5 guys retiring, they're backfilled by 2.
Maybe 2.
Yeah.
And then how long does it take to train a qualified
10 years to get them worth of shit?
Yeah. I mean, a qualified carpenter.
Right.
You just don't develop overnight.
No.
So, yeah, it's going to have a significant impact on our labor pool.
Right.
Unfortunately.
So what do we do?
I don't know. We need to unpack this a little bit. So wherever there's a major crisis, there's always opportunity.
Sure.
So let's focus on that.
Yeah. Let's also define the size of the problem. I mean, how likely do you think it's going to be that, or just the threat of deportation, that guys are going to stop showing up to the job?
They got to eat, right?
They got to eat. Right.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this anymore. You know, like,
well, we got the policy of it notwithstanding. I mean, we got to do something about the fentanyl. And,
agreed.
And
100%.
And like we
stuff going on at the border. We got to take care of that.
And we can't have people drawing on our resources that aren't paying into the system.
Correct.
That's a good way for us to go bankrupt.
Agreed.
But at the same time, it's like, we can't pay framers $80 an hour.
No, we can't.
I mean, so it's like, again, I keep going back to, what do we do? But
right.
Different steps. Frankly, you said earlier they got to eat.
Right.
I don't think it's going to, at face value, it might in the beginning. I don't know. Like,
well, I think that's the looming question over all of us. Like, nobody knows what's this going to look like. What's this new environment going to look like? So because we can't even define the problem, it means we can't. I mean, you would say, an engineer would say, if you can't define the problem, you can't solve it. So another way of saying that is the only way you can solve a problem is to define it. Mm-hmm. So instead of saying, instead of walking through what's going to be the impact of this policy, let's flip this on its head and be like, how do we make ourselves immune to anything the government does regarding immigration, right? So hence workforce development. I
mean, as a small business owner, I don't see us having the resources, time and money.
We just don't.
To train.
We just don't.
I think that's, it's a noble idea, but.
Agreed. I mean, there's some things that we can do. Invest in our local community college programs. Invest in our local trade schools. Mm-hmm. But come on, I mean, we're still behind. The the gap in the skills trade area is just
Wild.
massive. It's just massive, and we're not going to fill it anytime soon.
No. So because we can't increase the supply of trades. All right, so that's not the problem we need to solve.
Right.
To make ourselves immune, we need to create a profitable system to acquire talent, to compete for talent. This becomes a zero sums game, which a lot of contractors don't like to talk about. They think that's poaching, like it's a bad thing.
No, I think what it's doing is, we find those guys who, you find the guys who maybe are a contractor on their own right now,
Sure,
but not a very savvy business guy.
Right.
How do we fold them into our organization? Give them a path, show them a clear path to a career,
Sure,
to the kind of money that they need to be making, that sort of thing, and we just foster that growth,
right,
and empower them as trades guys to learn as all they can, be the best that they want to be.
Sure.
And so maybe that's the play, on the short term.
I read the NHB did a study, or no, it wasn't the NHB, it was the Department of Labor. Do you know your average self-employed contractor takes home $80,000 a year?
Yeah, it's pretty pathetic.
My project managers in Seattle make 120.
Right. Yeah. My LM.
So why are these guys insisting? That's here's the question we need to ask ourselves is why do these guys, in the face of to be a self-employed contractor making 80, you have the skills to go be a commercial superintendent, and those guys make 100, 120. I don't care where you live. So why do these guys insist on staying self-employed, making 75% less with double the hours? Why would anybody do that?
Yeah, is it the autonomy, the idea
Pride?
that they're running something? Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
We had this situation earlier this fall when we made the switch from when we opened the Handyman.
Sure.
And we ran the model for the guys,
right,
on how they were going to be compensated, and they just couldn't do the math. I was like, okay,
right.
Well, here's option 2.
That's so interesting because you showed those guys how you're going to make. They couldn't wrap their heads around the fact that they're getting paid 30% of the ticket, and they didn't like that number.
Well, they didn't like the fact that 70% was going to the house,
right?
Because obviously,
because you're a greedy rat bastard.
I fund my second home in Costa Rica.
So those two guys decided rather than take 30% of the ticket, which you're billing out at what, 120, 150 an hour?
125
an hour. So they're guaranteed to make $38 an hour here in Western Kentucky.
Yes, sir.
Guaranteed.
Yes, sir.
Okay. When your average, I'd say here in Western Kentucky, your average self-employed contractor is making much less than 80 grand.
I would say.
Right. But with performance incentives and the hours, these guys were staring down the barrel of 80K plus.
Easy.
With no risk of like no payroll, no insurance, no dealing with employees, no having to sell homeowners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They were guaranteed that.
Yeah.
And they still decided to leave you to go out on their own.
Yeah. And I said, here's option 2. Go to town, get your general liability.
Right.
Come back to me. I'll hire you as a subcontractor.
Which they're still getting paid the same, except now they have to pay for insurance.
Exactly. So, I mean, that's the situation. I don't even remember exactly where we were going with that.
Well, no, we're just exploring why these guys insist on being self-employed when there are other alternatives out there that like they can escape this prison anytime. Like, why do they stay there?
Yeah. So maybe that is the play right now because one, we're in a slow time of the year typically, where the phone's not ringing as much. If it's not ringing for us, it's probably not ringing for them.
Right.
They're definitely competent.
Sure.
Good at their trade.
Yep.
And so deportations aside, there is a labor pool there right now that maybe we tap into those guys and show them the path. Like, hey, let's join an organization that we take care of all the headaches for you. Right. You just show up and do your thing.
That's so interesting. When I think you touched on earlier, and let's explore this. your guys that decided to leave a W-2 secure relationship with you, that took the bait to go earn 100% of a subcontract, which is the same freaking money.
It's the same money.
Okay, whatever. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is I really, there's got to be a huge pride element to this.
There's got to be. Yeah. Yeah.
So the point I'm trying to get at is, let's not swim upstream, right? If these guys want to be self-employed,
okay.
So let's adapt our business model to leverage subcontractors so that they can continue to feel self-employed and autonomous. We get access to our labor. The money doesn't really change. But most guys will say, John, that I don't have the same control with subs as I do employees. And I feel that's bullshit.
I think that's a myth.
Well, if you have a shit subcontract,
well, sure,
you have no control.
Sure.
Right? But the thing is, with an employee, you have to pay them no matter what.
Absolutely. And that's, yes. Friday's coming.
Friday, right. They don't care.
No.
Right.
No. So Friday's coming. We stretched a lot of jobs out too long with that mentality.
Right. I'll get to it Monday.
Exactly. We've got, and I don't mean this in a greedy bastard kind of way, but with subcontractors, we've got leverage.
Sure.
We've got more there. It's in their best interest to step this thing along, get things completed in a timely manner so they can go on to the next one.
That's right.
And that's how we do it. That's how we do it with the custom side of things.
Right. Right. And that's something you brought up a good point. Like,
and we can still control quality. I mean, our quality, that's not an issue.
Yeah. Well,
because we hire good guys.
Well, and also, would you agree with the statement that material drives production? You can't install what ain't there.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, that's incumbent on me.
Right.
To make sure my crap's dialed in tight.
Right.
So they're not, because if it's not there, they're calling me.
Yeah. You're messing with their money.
I'm messing with their money.
Right.
Absolutely.
So by us controlling the material or guaranteeing material availability, with your subsystem, what are we giving as downs? 5-10%?
Yeah.
Right. And your final payment is 50%. Because and what's really funny is, and the thing is, you and I said it there because all these subs inevitably start following Tom Reber, and they realize, like, I'm going to take my costs, I'm going to double it. I'm like, cool.
Yeah.
We know your margins, Bubba. So So you ain't getting your profit until I get what I want.
Right.
Right. And so you got your draw schedule set up, and you got your checklist of everything they need to complete, your completion checklist, and they don't get paid unless that checklist is initialed and signed.
Correct.
Right. And attached to the invoice.
Correct. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So you have infinitely more control than with the subs than you do.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. And one thing that we've kind of learned here lately is as we're expanding our service area.
Sure.
At home,
right,
we've been working with the same subs forever. And so there's no issue. Like, I can pick up the phone and call, and it's, the situation. It's a good old boy network. We've done it this way forever.
Sure.
And if it ain't broke, don't fix it, kind of thing.
Right.
But as we're casting a wider net and covering a bigger service area, those sub agreements have really come into play.
That's right.
Because I don't know you as well as I know.
That's right.
Long hair Jesus over here.
Dime store
Jesus. Yeah. Like, he's got my back on everything.
Sure.
So they come into play. And the really cool thing about the subcontract agreements is it is completely laid out from start to finish.
There we go.
Here's our SOPs, here's your checklist.
Right.
And it's that simple.
Here are your expectations.
That's all it is.
Right. These contractors that say, "Oh, I don't have control over my subs," are not controlling the expectations and tying that to money.
And there's generally very, very little pushback from your subs on that stuff. It's just the stuff they're already doing.
Right.
Now it's just on paper.
Right. Now imagine if you have the reputation around town as the GC that pays immediately, not net 7, not next week, not net 30, but like the same day we inspect your work, you have a check. When you have that reputation, like, Do you have any shortage of dudes wanting to work for you?
No.
No.
No. I will tell you, we're very selective on the guys that we work with, though.
Sure.
Like we work,
well, you have to be.
Like,
No,
there's a certain segment that we want to work with.
We're not training companies.
No.
We don't have those resources.
No. I do take chances on guys every now and then.
Well, you should.
But we'll parcel out the small stuff.
Right.
And see how we do.
Right. And then use them to hold accountable or keep honest your main squeezes.
Absolutely.
So they don't get comfy and start raising prices on you.
Absolutely.
Right. Interesting. Well, no, and like that sub model, that's an easy one, because then you're not fighting that pride of I became a contractor to be my own boss, and still getting the job done. But for the guys that subs aren't viable, right? Like subs are great for multi-trade projects,
Right.
that are 80K up, like they're going to take a few months.
Sure.
But for those jobs that take a few weeks, like subs just becomes a scheduling nightmare, doesn't it?
It can. It really can. So, you got the, that's where our handyman comes into play.
Sure.
The only subs we have to call
Right.
on that kind of thing are, we're
Mechanicals.
Exactly. We're moving a light,
Right.
adding a toilet.
Sure.
Adding a toilet's a big deal, by the way.
Yeah. Huge deal.
But so the handyman division, the small jobs division, those guys are well versed in just about everything.
Sure.
So paint, we got that. Trimming out, no problem. Setting cabinets. The really cool thing about those guys is Strong Tower can hire LBL Home
Right.
to come do my punch
Yep.
on my big projects. Or if I'm short a trim carpenter or something, I got one built in already.
It's an amazing strategy.
So we can just have Will come trim a house out for us.
So how do we staff the handyman?
So we have a general manager that runs the whole shop for us.
Okay.
And he does everything from scheduling to selling the jobs. And then we have technicians. And right now we've just got the one technician.
Yeah.
But we will have maybe up to 3 by the end of this year.
Sure. But with those techs and building out those crews, like, when we have 5 guys retiring, only 2 guys coming in, you have all these competitors all clamoring for the same quality of labor. How do you stand out? Like,
with hiring, with hiring those guys, man, we just make a clear path. That's
Okay.
what guys are looking for.
Yep.
Like their path to success, their path to what they're trying to achieve.
Sure.
And so that's just the environment that we foster. Like, hey, we pay top of scale,
Right.
but we expect top of scale work.
Right.
And then, here's your path forward.
Right.
Like, if you don't want to be a tech after so many years, hey, guess what? You might be a really good project manager.
Sure.
You know the tools, the schedules, you could say logistics. But you know what to look for in other sub trades. So there might be a path in the PM track for you.
Of course.
So, yeah.
But there is a pitfall, and you don't see it yet because, you got a firm handle on it. But span of control is 3 to 5 people, 3 to 5 processes.
Yeah.
Once you have more than 3 techs in the field, your ability to control is going to go down.
Sure.
And we have colleagues that are running $6 million builders who are self-performing all the trades except for mechanicals.
Yeah, I don't know how.
And that's the thing is, it's like, and they're paying top of market, yet they're still not getting the production they need.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, and they can't sub because there isn't a big enough of a pool in some of their markets to find quality subs. Because let's face it, every framing, sub, every roofing sub, they all say that they also do GC work, even though they're not GCs. But that's beside the point. Where I'm getting at is we have to create that subcontractor like accountability with our people in the field. Like, we pay top of market. Yeah, we have a great culture, and we'll unpack those things to stay competitive. But to fix it, to to save ourselves, one thing I'd like you to install is look at your labor budget by trade or by phase for everything you're self-performing, and quantify those man hours and that deadline, and then pull. Most contractors have about 9 to 10% slippage from estimated profit to job costed profit.
That's a huge number, by the way.
Right. So what if we took, we're going to lose 10%. What if we pulled 2% out and made that a bonus pool, right? And you spread that out amongst the trades as a crew bonus, not an individual. And it's like, hey, crew, you get this trade done by this phase done by this date, and you clock less than these many hours, you all get to share this bonus. So now, like, aren't the guys going to start policing themselves?
I would think. Yeah.
Right?
That sounds great.
Free money, right? I'd much rather lose 2% than 10%.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's a good point.
And then that creates faster production, which makes for a happier customer, which increases your referrals.
Right.
The guys make more money. They're managing themselves because they have an incentive to do so. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's something to chew on. I'd like to see you install something like that.
Okay. And that's on stuff we're self-performing?
Self-performing.
Okay.
That's
so
right.
we could apply that to the handyman model then too. The home
immediately.
improvement model.
Well, they're already incented because you're paying them 30% of the ticket.
Right. And the faster they go,
right,
they can do
the higher their
jobs.
hourly rate is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like Phil Green out of St. Louis, his billable is at 150, which on paper the guy should be making 30% of that, which would be 150. That would be $45 an hour. But in practice, because of how fast they go, as a result of this model, they're actually earning closer to $51 an hour.
Isn't that crazy? That's just insane.
Now,
that's great.
In over a 2,000 hour working year, he has handyman techs taking home 6 figs.
Yeah, no, that's insane.
Yet his margins are over 50%.
Yeah, no, that's amazing.
Isn't that wild?
That's
he's figured this whole thing out. Like, I'm not that smart. He figured out the handyman side.
No, Phil's got it going on.
But for these guys self-performing, it's like, first we got to figure out the comp and the accountability. Then we got to figure out the culture in order to separate ourselves. Mm-hmm. So the comp and accountability is simple. It's like we charge top of market so we can pay top of market, but we expect
top of market work.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way we enforce that is the thing is, and this is just a point of philosophy, but in my time in the Army, I've had good leaders, I've had bad leaders. All the bad leaders, they managed based on fear. Mm-hmm. Based on punishment, right? And in those organizations, the guys did whatever the minimum was required to not get yelled at.
Right.
Okay. The great leaders ruled by incentives, or led by incentives, not ruled. led by incentives, commanded by incentives.
Yeah.
And so those guys then became very aspirational, like I do more, I get more. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why it's like let's make it a point to be a obviously we want to be a results focused company, but a rewards focused company as well.
That makes a lot of sense,
right?
This is stuff you can implement right away.
And furthermore, like the next layer on top of that is I'd also like you to start sitting down with your guys once a month and set, like, basically at the beginning of the year, set their annual life goal. Like, what is the one thing you're going to achieve this year in your personal life away from the company? Mm-hmm. And then we're going to tie that to the amount of money they need to make
to make that happen.
And then we're going to break that down into monthly targets they need to hit to stay on track to hit their life's goal.
I think that as an employer, that's amazing. It shows you're invested in your employees' well-being. In their life,
right? And
we're supposed to be.
You don't, and as the owner, like, if you have a 20 employee company, like, I don't expect you to do that with all. It'd be super cool if you did, but I mean, you don't have enough time in the day to do, or the week to, or the month to do that. So you have your managers do that with their direct reports.
Yeah.
And then send you the notes on the conversation.
Absolutely.
Right.
I think that's a wonderful idea. That's what this is all about anyway. You know, like this whole business from start to finish is all about building relationships, right?
That's right.
I mean, that's how we solve problems for folks. We develop relationships with our brand champions. We with the guys working for us. That's probably a relationship we overlook a lot.
Oh, hugely. Right.
Yeah.
And so then word gets out because all these employees, they brag about how much money they're making and how cool their boss is or how cool their gig is.
Right.
Well,
yeah, leadership and culture are kind of like right hand, left hand thing.
Right.
So this is good stuff. Yeah.
So step one, we implement, and so by tying their life's goals to working at your company, it's going to reduce churn. Like,
sure,
you're going to create lifers out of these guys.
Yeah.
Right, and that's only going to improve the efficiencies in your company.
Right.
But more also too is with those guys making that top of market money, and that's tied to them hitting life's goals, and they see that you're invested in them. They're naturally going to talk to their boys or their girls, whatever, who are also in the trades. So the next layer, once we've got that installed, we've got comp and accountability sorted out, we've got culture sorted out. Now install a bounty program, right? Where
you bring somebody in to the fold.
Yeah. Hey, Jimmy the carpenter, we need to hire a guy. If you can find us a quality guy just like you, I'll give you $1,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. This is kind of a different route than I thought we were going to take in this conversation. You know,
right.
Because we can't really do much to solve the immediate problem.
We're not in the White House.
Right. But here's some things we can do now.
Right.
With
protect our companies.
Because there's still guys out there doing this stuff.
Right.
Working in the trades.
Sure.
Yeah. And and it's not poaching.
No.
It's a better path.
We are creating better opportunities.
Absolutely.
Right. You don't own these people.
No.
It's been illegal to own another human being in this country since like 1865 or 1864.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So they're not slaves.
Right.
Okay. They're not your property.
Right.
Okay. I'm going to do everything in my power to create a better opportunity than our competitors and let their employees know about it.
It's brilliant. No, that's exactly right.
Right. So when in our industry, like God bless the NAHB and their workforce development initiatives.
Yeah.
That's not something you and I at our level can do anything about. We don't have the time and we don't have the money to set up apprenticeship programs to turn a profit off that. Right. We're not JE Dunn with billions of dollars.
Right.
Like people, as a small business, you have to come in already able to do your job.
Yeah. And that's the tricky part, finding those guys.
Right.
Well,
the only way we can do that is to pay top of market. Okay. Clear expectations so we protect ourselves as a company. Step one. Step two, kill our culture. Right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's it. It's a 1-2 punch.
Exactly.
Right.
What about the idea of like, you have 3 seasoned vets and then you bring in 1 or 2 youngsters for the new generation and just pair them up with the old guys.
Sure. Well, no, absolutely. And they're going to learn by osmosis.
Yeah.
But what we're paying that youngster, we still have to turn a profit off their production.
Sure.
Right. So they got to come with like a bare minimum set of skills.
I got you.
See where I'm going with this?
Yep. 100%.
Like we only need so many runners.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly right. And so, for example, in our design build company, we have this role called the logistics manager, and she's just out of college. I think she has a degree in construction management, but that's beside the point.
Right.
That person's only job is to review the specs, make sure there's a selection for everything that has a spec, make sure the quantities are accurate, order everything, and then create the material calendar based off of lead times so that the graybeard, project manager who knows how to build can then build the sub schedule or the self-performing trade schedule based off of material availability. And then I don't know what it is about builders with gray hair who are terrified of keyboards.
Yeah.
I mean, getting those guys to operate Builder Trend, good luck. Like, so fine. We'll use 22-year-old Chloe.
Yep.
To write the daily log for the PM, and that log is structured as quantify for us what was completed. Okay. Yeah. Are we on track or off track? What issues are making us off track, and what is the solution?
Yep.
And so by her having that conversation with the PM about 17 active projects daily, like she's learning how to be a PM every day.
That's her apprenticeship.
And she's performing a skill that saves the owner 20 hours a week. So that's how we're turning a profit off her wages. Does that make sense?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Right.
I've got an LM too.
Yeah.
But he's a hybrid. So he's a LM for strong tower and a GM for the handyman.
Running
division.
the handyman. You can't fuck that up.
Yeah. No.
That's really
but hey, LMs don't touch tools.
No, they don't touch tools. They touch keyboards.
Tools. They touch keyboards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
They don't touch tools.
No, absolutely not.
Especially sawzalls.
Not allowed.
Not allowed.
And also on the build side, that LM should be given the punch list.
Yeah.
To manage the punch.
Yeah.
And move that PM and those subs off to the next job to keep making money. And then we'll use the self-perform crew from your handyman to execute the punch.
Yep.
And what that does is that gives the LM essentially PM light duties, right? To further train, and does a very valuable service for us. Because, at the end of the job, you've seen this. These homeowners may have unspoken grievances.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
right.
It's better just
right, and they're just waiting for punch. They don't want to upset the relationship, but they're waiting for punch to pull the knives out and carve a pound of flesh out of your PM's ass. Right, and so we switch the batter.
Yeah, just get him out of there.
Yeah,
bring in the pinch hitter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, can't be mad at the closer.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't cause these problems.
Yeah.
They're just trying to help you.
Yeah, let the kid finish.
Right. But that also trains them to be a PM. So there's all these opportunities. I'm glad you brought that up. There are these opportunities where taking somebody young and inexperienced, the only way they're going to learn is by doing. So give them the stuff that your graybeards hate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which makes them more productive and allows them to ease into roles of higher responsibility.
Sounds good to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm an old grizzled gray beard dude. I'm halfway literate with the keyboard, but Jacob handles most of that stuff.
It's all good.
It's perfect.
But getting back to the thrust of today's topic.
Yep.
Workforce development. The short answer is you don't have the time or the money to do workforce development.
Right.
People have to come in with monetizable skills.
Yeah.
Right. We have to recruit. Right. And the only way we're going to get the best people is by having the best opportunity. Because we just talked about how your average self-employed contractor is only making 80K.
Yeah.
And yet there's jobs where they could easily make 120, yet they choose not to. So it's not all about the money. I mean, money is important, but it's not the only thing, right?
Yeah, I agreed.
So let's talk about how to get the word out.
Okay. Well, one thing I think as a business owner, once you get to a particular level and you're off the tools, recruiting now becomes
Your primary responsibility.
one of your primary responsibilities.
Right.
So focusing on recruiting all of a sudden becomes really, really important, and maintaining a bench, whether it's going to be, subcontractors or if you're self-performing.
Sure.
So your question, how do we find these guys? Is that where we're going here?
Yeah. I mean, like, everybody knows about Indeed and ZipRecruiter. What are some other ways we've got access to really high level talent out here in rural Western Kentucky?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, so, I can speak from experience using the whole Indeed thing.
Sure.
We do it a little different than probably everybody else.
Sure.
And we call it a cattle call.
Oh, okay.
So we placed an ad
Right.
outlining the job duties of a field technician for the home improvement side of things. And we had 87 applicants on round one. 87 applicants.
Kidding.
We clearly defined a path with salary expectations. Out of that 87, we invited, I can't remember now. I'm going to get the numbers wrong, but maybe 10.
Sure.
And 6 showed up.
What?
But we call it a cattle call because they all show up at the same time. And
They see each other.
They see each other. And you let a little tension build in the room. Just see how guys interact with each other.
Diabolical. Keep going.
You just see how guys interact with each other. And then you do a short little introduction, talk a little bit about what the company's about, and then you give them a self-assessment test.
Sure.
And it's just a paper test. Right. And guys, here's a list of skills on this piece of paper. Would you honestly rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 on these skills?
Right.
And honesty is really important here, because if we hire you and you say that you're an excellent concrete finisher, and we go somewhere to have you finish concrete and it's trash and we have to tear it all out, well, guess what? We know you lied and you're no longer with us.
We have a problem here.
Yeah. You're just no longer with us.
Yeah.
That's you lied.
Breach of integrity, automatic fire.
Yeah, gone.
Gone.
So that's how we do that. And then based off the skills assessment, and if a guy scores like multiple 10s on stuff, he's also lying.
Yeah.
Because nobody's that good.
Nobody's perfect.
Nobody is that good.
No.
So you don't get invited back to the second round. The second round is a one-on-one interview.
Okay.
Where we do more deep dives.
Okay.
So yeah, that's how we do things a little differently.
Okay.
And then, then there's a little bit of a probation period out in the field to see how you do.
Yeah, yeah.
They're expected to know how to use some software. Mm-hmm. They're expected to have customer skills, customer relations skills, all the soft skills, as well as handyman skills.
Sure.
So that's how we do it a little different here. That's how we find them around here.
That's awesome.
Now we get into like subs, looking for subs.
Yeah,
It's a little trickier.
How are you finding your subs?
So that's going to be all word of mouth stuff on my end.
Right.
Referrals. That's where, in our first segment today, we talked about real estate agent referrals and design referrals and that sort of thing. They've been spectacular for that also.
Sure.
So, because they see people, they know people.
Right.
So we tap into
So
them
you
that
got to
way.
be a GC that's referable.
Exactly.
Because the guys, they don't want to say, "Hey, go work for John," and John's a total asshole that pays late, if pays at all.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. So, we tap into as many different referral sources as possible. Lumber yards have been great on that end too,
Yes. Yeah.
because they deliver. They see you. Our lumber guys are outstanding, and they're an extra set of eyes out in the field for us. To be honest with you.
Yep.
They know what's going on.
Yep. So referrals from past subs, lumber yards probably number 2.
Yes. Past subs. Yeah. Yes.
If you don't have a good relationship at a lumber yard and let's say you're just starting out, a good spot are the regional Facebook contractor groups. Hey, join your local home builders association. Yep,
Golly,
exactly.
Don't snooze on that.
No.
If you're just getting started out, man, maybe
Join the NAHB.
Join
and
that for
ask
sure.
other GCs for referrals to subs.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I was going to say BNI, but maybe as a new contractor, maybe not. Not yet.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
No.
So,
Okay, I got an advanced tactic for you.
Okay.
That I've tested out.
all right.
Yeah, like I'm putting geofences.
Around other builders.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. And basically, in the previous segment, we talked about the trust funnel targeting homeowners with that journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we create content on why people should come work for us and put that in a geofence on all our competitors' offices.
Okay. Okay.
It's the same.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Lumber yards are good for that too.
That's interesting.
Putting a geofence on the lumber yard. I mean, put $20 behind it.
Yeah.
Now the whole industry in town knows who you are and why you're awesome.
That's pretty smart.
It works so good.
That's pretty smart.
It just requires effort. you got to have a camera, be comfortable being on camera.
Right.
Hire a video editor.
Know how to geofence.
Or
find somebody that does.
Right. Choosel is a great platform for that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. No, that sounds great. I mean, that's how we're finding that most of our guys around here in Western Kentucky.
Right.
You know, it's a small enough area where word of mouth spreads super fast.
Sure. But in a big city, they have the reverse challenge. Like you have like a customer challenge. In the big cities, they have like a labor challenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Now we still have, you know, our fair share of. I mean, we have both.
Yeah.
Both challenges.
It's a tough market, dude.
we just have both challenges.
Yeah.
Right now. So.
Okay. So I bringing that back to sourcing qualified talent. Mm-hmm. We talked about different ways to ascend and train our people.
Yes.
We talked about how to source, good subs. We talked about how to source good employees.
Yep.
We talked about accountability, compensation, accountability.
Yep.
I really feel the compensation is important, but I don't think it's the most important factor.
I would agree with you. I think employees, especially, I mean, if you're running a self-perform shop,
right?
Employees want to be recognized and felt like they're valued. I can raise my hand to say that in the past, I've not done a very good job with that. I thought I did.
Sure.
But that comes from knowing your people too, because you can't do a blanket. Everybody's an individual. So if you can, the more you can individualize that, the better.
Yeah.
Individualize incentives or rewards.
That's right.
The better.
I think our audience should be more worried about how for every 5 guys retiring, they're only being backfilled by 2.
I would agree.
I think you should be more worried about that than the news about deportations.
I would too. Yeah. I mean, we can't do anything about that.
No.
We can't. That's not our. So let's work with what we got.
Right. Whatever political side of the fence you're on.
Exactly.
There's nothing you can do about it.
Nope.
And it's probably not going to have that much of an effect. I mean, it's going to definitely make that 5-2 ratio worse.
Oh yeah.
Like it might grow to 7-1.
Yep. Well, and I do think it's going to increase labor costs.
Oh, crazy.
Again.
Yep. Again.
So we're going to have to really be looking out for that.
Right.
But
it's
there's
not,
nothing you can do about it.
It's not enough to build with quality.
No, that's the low bar.
It's not enough to sign a paycheck.
No.
That's expected.
Exactly.
You have to compete.
And so, yeah, I think...
just offering a job, no one cares.
Nobody cares.
Right.
Nobody cares. I mean, I think you have to offer a path.
Sure.
A path.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of, hey, let's sit down and talk about your life goals outside of this.
Yeah, what do you want to achieve this year? What do you want to achieve in 3 years?
Where do you want to be?
Right.
How can I help you get there?
Right.
And okay, let's formulate a plan. I really like that idea.
Right.
That's what I mean, if we're just working for a paycheck, come on.
It's not enough.
It's just not enough.
No, and we have peers out there like they should be grateful they have a job. It's like,
come on. I've worked for guys like that. That's the fear. That's equivalent to the fear-based style of leadership.
Right.
It doesn't work.
You know, my old man once sat me down because he was like, "You keep saying the word should a lot," and he said, like, the only way you're gonna be successful is if you stop talking about how things should be and formulate a strategy based off of how things actually are. It's like control what you can control.
That's an incredible point.
Right.
That's very good.
All right. So yes, they should be grateful for the job. But guess what?
Yeah.
They're not. So,
right. Right.
You still want quality labor.
Yeah.
What is it that the quality labor wants? And we've clearly established money's important, but it's not the most important thing.
Not the most important thing. No, it's not. No, they want to, they want to be valued and they want to be recognized.
Right. Because in the trades, all these guys constantly, they're when you think of the word contractor, you can't spell contractor without con. The public thinks we're scumbags.
They do.
They don't see us as professionals.
Correct.
We're constantly being shit on because we're blue collar. Apparently we're stupid.
Correct.
Right?
Correct. Our so Strong Tower has this covert underlying mission.
Right.
You know, we want to build strong men as well as strong projects.
I love that.
And that's one of the reasons we exist. So,
okay.
we're still good?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
Sorry.
So, yeah. So, however I can empower those guys to support them in that endeavor, I think it's worth it. So, that's a culture. That's an underlying culture that we're trying to develop.
Right.
And some folks fall into it and some folks don't reject it. And that's okay. But that's the underlying mission that we're trying to achieve here.
Sure.
And that's how we're going to drive quality, and everything else will fall in line with that.
That's right.
Because we've developed those guys that
right.
way. So, you know, I want, like, contractors and carpenters are notorious for poor financial decisions. How can I help you with that? How can I help you save for a house? How can I help you save for retirement? How can I help you put your kids through school? How can we do these things? How can I help you be a better community member?
Yeah.
You know, how can I help you coach the Little League team?
See,
you know,
my gosh.
What do we got to do this?
You are hitting on something so profound. It's like we want stable employees.
Yeah.
They need to be they need to be stable members of society.
Agreed. And we've done nothing but give ourselves a black eye in the industry over the years. You know, we took the dignity out of work somehow. I don't know how we did it, but we gutted it.
Yeah.
And so people think we're the dregs of society.
Right.
And we're not.
No.
You know, we're just far from it. So maybe we just kind of bring some of that dignity of work back. And this is a very honorable career.
Yeah.
Incredibly.
Absolutely.
And let's act like it.
That's right.
You know, and pay like it.
Right.
You know.
So if they have a stable home, they're probably going to be a stable
guy,
team member.
Yeah. We don't have to worry about all the court dates.
No, but it's not enough to pay them a crazy amount. Like the thing is, they don't teach financial literacy in school.
No,
they probably didn't learn it at home.
No,
otherwise they wouldn't be taking a job as a carpenter.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So it's incumbent upon us.
Yeah.
To train our guys on financial literacy and how to make good decisions. And
you know, and I don't think it takes a whole lot of effort to do that.
Really
There's so many cool programs that are either free or close to free.
Right.
You know, and you just offer that service to them.
Right.
Offer that opportunity to them.
Yeah. One service, I mean, this wouldn't cost you anything. Go set up a company 401k plan.
Yeah.
With a team like Edward Jones. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then ask that rep, say, hey, as part of this deal, all right, I do this deal with you because these guys are all hungry for more business. And I'll explain why later in a second. But you tell them, I need to see you once a month at my office for lunch to teach my guys. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
About budgeting.
That's amazing.
Right.
And that's, exactly. No, I love that. That's just,
you want my business? This is what I need from you.
No, this is great. This is great.
And that costs you nothing to set up that 401k plan.
Well, hey, guess what, Mr. Residential Contractor?
Yeah.
You just set yourself above 99% of your competition.
Right.
Because they're just cutting checks on Friday afternoon.
Right.
You know, and now, holy cow, you got a 401k for these dudes?
Right.
And you're teaching them how to save?
Right.
Holy crap.
Right.
Who doesn't want to come work for you?
That's right. So on payday, on Friday in the afternoon, every other week, you have your financial advisor coming in for a financial class.
Yeah.
And on the other hour, you could have, your mortgage loan officer coming in to talk about like what they got to do to get a mortgage.
Exactly.
Okay. Because once they own a house, they're going to be stable.
Exactly.
Right.
No, I love this. This is good stuff. Here's another weird one.
Yeah.
This is kind of a weird one, but this is one we're going to do. We're going to have a chiropractor come once a month to the shop.
Hilarious. I love it.
So we're working on the financial health. Let's work on our physical health a little bit.
Yeah.
Get these guys all lined out.
Get them a gym membership.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
It's cheap. It's so cheap.
Yeah.
Those little things like that.
Get them a chiro hour.
Exactly.
An hour of chiro.
A month.
Well, and you meet them at BNI. It's now you're getting BNI tickets, or whatever they call that shit.
Yeah. No, it's just there's little things like that
So
you
if
guys
you have
can do.
a 5-man shop, you know, it's going to cost you probably $350 a month.
Yeah.
To give each one a chiro appointment.
Yep.
But I promise you're the only contractor in
You're
town
the only
that's
contractor doing that.
Right.
You know,
I promise you.
the only guy. You know, maybe pull off early on a Friday.
Right.
We got a shop. We're fortunate enough to have a shop. We don't build anything anymore in the shop, so it's more warehouse. But man, pull everybody in on a Friday, fire up the grill.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say
not every Friday.
No.
Once a month.
No, celebrate
Whatever.
a big project completion.
You got to do that.
So in commercial, they have this thing called
That's a big deal.
They have this thing called cap off parties.
Yeah.
Right, where when they put the roof on, they typically have a party, and they bring the developer and all the PMs and the subs and right. Do the same thing in resi. Like we complete a big job, we're gonna have a barbecue back at the office.
Absolutely. Bring the kids.
Right.
I don't care. Come on,
right.
Let's go.
And then recognize everybody's individual contributions to the project.
It's so cheap to do stuff like that.
Right.
But man, it goes a long way.
Yeah.
I'm coming up with all kinds of good ideas.
Yeah. I definitely would love to see you go over to Edward Jones. I keep plugging them just because I used to work for those guys.
Sure.
Have them set up a simple 401k plan for your company. It's not going to cost you much.
Right.
Maybe $500 to get it set up.
Yep.
You don't have to do a match. It'd be cool if you did, but if you don't have the profit, don't do a match.
Yeah.
Okay. And then have that FA because at Jones, they are compensated not only for the amount of money they bring into the company, but also the number of customers.
Gotcha.
So that's why they love these 401k plans, right? And so you tell them, like, listen, I need you once a month to come to the shop and give a financial literacy course, right? They get compensated from Jones for doing that too.
That's great. That's amazing.
Right? And then I want you to have your mortgage loan officer coming in talking about how to clean up their credit.
Yeah.
To get a mortgage.
Yep.
Right. And have your accountant come in.
Yeah.
To talk about budgeting, saving.
Yep.
Right. Fine. If you have to pay them for an hour, fine. Whatever.
Yeah.
But like we got to make these guys successful as people so that they'll be successful employees.
I really feel that. I don't feel it. I know that.
Right.
That's how you. Golly, yeah. We've done a horrible job with that.
Horrible.
We've done a horrible job, and that's so. I'm kind of excited about that being one of my roles.
Sure.
Leadership and development and recruiting. I'm not joking. I really am.
Right.
I got a bunch of young dudes that I want to bring into. So in Western Kentucky, I think we're just incredibly blessed with. There's a young group of guys that have worked for Strong Tower over the years, and they all want to come back eventually. they're all around the country right now, but I get phone calls and text messages about the boys want to come home. Perfect. And there's just a hotbed. This is the secret of Western Kentucky, so nobody come poach my guys. But there's a hotbed of youngsters up here that are just workers.
Yeah,
and they're hungry to learn. I want to do as much as I can for guys like that.
Right.
I really do.
So bringing it on home, talking about the deportations. Number one, that's probably not going to make a hill of beans difference.
Nope.
Other than labor is going to get more expensive.
Labor's going to get more expensive.
And so as an employer. In the same way, like marketing continues to get more and more sophisticated.
Yeah.
You solve this problem not by bitching about how things should be. All right. This isn't going to be solved with politics in Washington.
No.
There's nothing you can do about workforce development. Like that ratio of 7 guys retire or 5 guys retiring for every 2 guys coming in.
Yep.
Nothing you or I are going to do to affect that.
Right.
NAHB probably isn't going to put a dent in that.
No.
And we don't have the resources that the big billion-dollar GCs have. Nope. To take people off the street and turn them into viable trades.
Correct.
Okay. So our only option is to be a better employer.
Yeah. Agreed. 100%.
Create a better opportunity. And then let everybody know about it.
And hey, it fits so well with a design build model.
Right.
Because we're the client. We should be able to fund this.
Yes.
Right. We're not talking a lot of money.
No.
But we're talking, we're doing the kind of builds that will afford us to do this. Mm-hmm. And we need, I'm fired up about this. I'm really excited now.
Oh yeah. Can't do much for the subs.
No. I mean, other than
pay immediately
and just keep
treating them like human beings. And having your shit together.
Yeah. And keep funneling them the work.
Right.
Keep them busy.
Right.
That's what they like.
Yep.
That's what they like.
Just keep them busy.
Yeah. And
but for in-house people, like, we're gonna have to get creative and
absolutely
be better employers.
I agree.
And you know, yes, the business is the vehicle for us to achieve our own dreams.
Yeah.
But for the people working at our business, it's got to do the same thing.
Absolutely, it does. No, yeah, you're 100% right. I mean, this is all going into legacy building, which is kind of the
we're getting there.
We're getting there. You know, this is that's kind of the overarching theme of this podcast anyway. Part of the theme is part of what we do as contractors. You're teaching us to build a legacy, because if we don't, you're selling a truck and some tools at the end of this thing. There's nothing there if you don't have the legacy.
Maybe some real estate if you're smart.
Maybe if you might have a shop or something.
Right.
But anybody can. Who wants to buy that?
No.
Nobody. So, you know, have something worth something that your guys are part of. Mm-hmm. And so when that time does come, they're part of it already. They're taken care of.
That's right.
They're running the show without you.
That's right.
They don't need you. I'm working myself out of a job.
That's right.
Is what I want to do.
That's right. That's right. So I guess the number one question to solve this problem about labor is, number one, stop bitching about or worrying about what you can't control.
Just stop.
Right?
Yeah. Not only for the labor force, but for everything. Just stop.
It doesn't matter how things should be.
Correct.
It ain't.
It ain't.
It ain't. So be a better employer and create a job that you would take if you didn't own the company.
That's a really good way to look at it. Yeah. Like if I were the 23-year-old John Hutter again,
right,
and swinging a hammer, where would I want to be?
Right.
And I think of the guys I was working with, and I think I alluded to that in the earlier. I don't know how we got anything built because we had so much fun,
right?
But we were amazing.
Sure.
I mean, we did a hell of a job.
Sure.
And because it was the kind of place you wanted to be at.
Yep.
And we didn't make it wasn't the money.
Right.
It really wasn't.
See?
It wasn't.
It's like, again, we come back to that. Like, why do these self-employed contractors insist on being their own boss, making less money?
Yeah.
Because there's more to it than just the money.
There's a lot more to it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So quit bitching.
Yeah.
Make it a job that you would want.
Right. Yeah.
And
then backwards out from there, what do we have to charge and who's going to pay that?
Right.
In order for us to afford the job that we're extending.
I think maybe you share some of that with homeowners and clients.
Sure.
Like, hey, not only are we building you something really, really cool,
right,
but you're helping these guys.
There's a mission here.
There's a mission here.
Right.
You know, we're here to turn the world upside down.
Right. We're building stronger men.
We're building stronger men.
Stronger people.
Stronger people.
Yeah, I don't want to get canceled.
No. I know what you mean. But yeah, no, exactly. That's what we're here for.
That's right. So for the guys listening, it's like, I forget Occam's razor. Mm-hmm. The simple solution is off. The simple explanation is often the correct one.
Yep.
Right. There's nothing fancy about this.
No, there's not.
Just be a better employer.
Yeah, really.
Create a job you would take.
Exactly. Yeah. Don't worry about going and getting all the fancy stuff, and
they don't care.
They don't care. Just be a better dude.
Right. Right.
Be the place become the place you want to be at. Become the employer you would want to work for.
So it's a two-part system if you really think about it.
Sure.
It's a lot like marketing and sales. To acquire a contract is acquiring customers.
Yep.
Or I'm sorry, employees. And the way we attract the guys is by having an attractive compensation package.
Yep.
That's the foundation. That has accountability measures so that you're profitable.
Absolutely.
Okay, that's the caveat. Then your culture is all hyper focused on using your business as the vehicle to achieve their dreams.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
You do that, you're good. That gets them in the door.
Yeah.
The way you keep them is by turning them into stable members of society.
Exactly. And hey, by the way, you know, like, we're going to do all this stuff, but employee, you're going to be measured on these things here. You know, so we got our key performance indicators. We have a ramp card system that you're going to be judged upon, and it's to make you better.
Right.
You know, it's to make the organization better. It's to push the mission forward.
That's right.
And so that's how we measure things here. That's how we measure things.
That's right.
And what good dad wouldn't do that for their people? What good father wouldn't be like, this is the path. This is the path. Let's go.
Right.
It's real. It always comes back to relationships.
Right.
Always.
Right. And much like a father, it's like ultimately it's the employee's choice if they walk that path or not.
Absolutely. It is. You can't walk it for them.
No.
You just can't.
Oh.
So, this is awesome.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah. All right. So
Well, we solved that problem.
solve that problem. I wish we should probably pour another one. No, kidding. Yeah. So
Hey.
what's up?
Nothing. This is just great.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So for the audience, if you want to see more content like this, you'll find it at on our YouTube channel. You'll find the library of these podcasts on our YouTube channel, which is the Remodel Commander, or Remodel Commander. If you're looking for marketing and sales systems, don't pay a fucking guru $8-10 grand. It's absolutely free with battle tested systems, the same stuff guys like John and other multi-million-dollar contractors are using. Go to school. It's called Contractor College. Again, it's free.
School's SKOOL, by the way.
That's right. So see you next time.
All right, man. Thank you.